Hi, my name is Alessandro Candelosi and that's a new tutorial coming from cgcookie.com for MathCookie. This time we'll see a really simple way to simulate falling debris, and that's an example. You see that we have the film effects simulating the dust, and we have some falling bodies created using the particle flow. We'll create a really simple simulation. Obviously there are more complex ways to achieve those effects, and obviously there will be some limitation to the technique we use to obtain the final result. Let's start working on the scene, and first of all let's check the unit setup. We have meters and centimeters, and let's close there. Okay, I like to create the particle system, but before let's have more frame, 300, and let's do something like that. This one will be our particle system to create the falling debris. You see we have particles falling, but we need to have the particle falling for more frames. So we go inside particle view. Let's wait for the user interface. Okay, and then the particle system will be really simple. First of all, let's use a bigger emitter, let's say maybe 3 meters by 3 meters. Then we'll say that we have the starting at the frame 0 and the end at frame 300, so we'll have pieces for our frames. Let's try with 2000 or maybe 3000 pieces. Let's say to the particle system to have 100% particles in the viewport, and let's move the camera to have a better visualization there. Then let's start before the first frame, let's say 60, so we have falling stuffs for the entire animation. Maybe we can use less pieces. Let's try with 2000. So we'll have something like that. Talking about the speed, actually we have 300. Let's try with 120, and let's have maybe 70 for the variation, and just a little bit of divergence. Let's try with 1.5. You see that we have the falling pieces in this way. Maybe we have still too much. Let's go for 1000, and let's say to show the bounding boxes inside the viewport, so we see the stuffs falling. I think that the speed is too low, so let's go for again 300 and 250. So you see now the speed seems better. And then another thing is to have a spin to make the object spinning during the falling. So let's go there and let's select spin, and let's have also a variation, maybe more. So you see it is rotating, maybe it is rotating in the right way, I'm not sure, but we have to check. Okay, let's create a camera from this point of view, and then we can start creating the meshes that will become the debris. Let's prepare a really simple stuff. So obviously you have time to prepare more interesting thing. I will create something really not so complex. So let's use a tube. Then we can use a cylinder. Then let's go for some chamfer box. But the fillet will be less, and we need to have more segments. Nothing so much because we have to be also really fast during the simulation. Then let's create, for example, an object like this one. Let's have a little bit more segments. Okay, and let's see whatever else we can do. Let's say that we have something like another chamfer box, but it will be more little. Okay, so then we can select this one, and we need to have a noise to make something like broken parts. So noise, let's go for fractal, and we can try to have, for example, 10, 10, and 10. Let's go for a perspective view and zoom to the single mesh. So this one will be our mesh. We can just add a little bit, you see, our noise. Then let's go to the cylinder we have there, and let's pick this one, copy, and right mouse button, paste. So you see we'll have this one, and it can be enough. Maybe we can have more on this side. Okay, then the other objects there, and let's copy also there. Okay, then the same to the other chamfer box, paste, and we can go with the shape, and then the lattice one, paste, and you see that seems a broken pieces. Then we can select the various pieces, and we can make a group. Let's say debris. Then we can go and select the particles. Let's go in the camera and back again there. We need a shape instance because we have to use the shape inside the mesh we created. We say to use, let's go, the group members, so it will use all the objects we have inside the group, and then we can make a scaling. Okay, we can have also a variation, maybe 45%. So now if you see, we have these objects falling. We can make random order. Let's go at full screen, and this will be our simulation. We can have maybe a little bit more spinning, so let's go for 500. So you see they are rotating in a faster way, and you see that are all the objects falling. So it's really really simple. Let's go there and let's say that we are not renderable for the debris. Let's save the scene in the right folder, and let's call it 3ds Max particles falling debris. Let's copy the name, and we can save with the right file name. Okay, so we have the file actually, and that's ready, and you see that we have this one. You can render it, and it will be better to render using the motion blur. Let's imagine that we'll use a simple material. Let's go for a standard, and let's say that we have just color, nothing so special. So let's say that we have something like that with a little bit of specularity. So we are just creating a simple thing. Obviously you can create various shaders for every single mesh, and you will obtain the right material from the objects you are picking, because you see we have the acquire material and acquire mapping. Let's remove the acquire. Oh, we can use it. So let's select the debris and let's assign. And you see that we have the pieces with the right value. Let's use maybe mental ray, just because the motion blur is better than the other. And let's go to have there 900 and 400. Okay, you see the pieces. We have no lighting there, but it's not important. It's just to see how it looks. Let's say enable motion blur. It is calculating, and you see that we have the motion blur. So that's the best way to simulate the speed, because we have falling bodies. So it's better to have the motion blur. Okay, let's see how we can add the dust inside the scene. And to do it, we need the film effects. Let's use something a little bit bigger. Then let's move it. Oh, sorry. So just a little bit bigger. Okay. Then we need, we can have a falling dust all over, and to do it we need, let's get in film effects, a simple source, and the simple source will be a box, and the box will be bigger, let's say something similar to the falling piece. We can put it there. Then let's use also a gravity vector, just to say where is the gravity, and then let's pick the source and let's rotate it to have the emitter going down. And then let's check the parameters. We have the smoke, and that's right. Let's see for something else. We can have more turbulence. Let's have more speed. Let's try with 20 centimeters and no radial speed. Let's go inside film effects, and we have to say to film effects to use the source and the gravity. Let's see what happened. We have to now simulate the fuel, just the smoke, and let's see what happened. Okay, you see it seems really slow, and we like that the smoke will fall down more. Okay, so let's check various parameters. Let's use a little bit more lower value there for the aspect stride. The scale can be okay. We can have a little bit less gravity. We'll have more vorticity because I like to have more chaos, and we can have a little bit of turbulence. Let's try with maybe let's say 5 centimeters, and we can say that the scaling, or maybe 1 centimeters of speed, and let's say 50 centimeters in scale, and with more detail let's go for 4, and let's go inside the smoke and let's check to have, maybe later we can have an higher value there for the dissipation. Let's see in the meantime how it works. we need for sure more speed. So let's pick the emitter, and we can have, let's say, let's try with 100, so 1 meter of speed. And let's check now again how it looks. Okay, so let's try to see. Okay, let's check the various parameters, because now I see. But I'm thinking that if we like to have a better control, we can remove this one, and we can have a general particle system. So another particle flow source like this one, and we can have similar value. So this one will start at -60, 300, and let's go for more particles, and the speed will be something similar, and 1.5. we don't need speed, spin and rotation, so we'll go for something like that. And then we'll go there to use particle flow source and assign this one. Let's change the scaling to something like that, and again we can check applying using the Alt key, the H key, and let's see what we can simulate. You see that we are simulating something more interesting. So let's go in the particle flow source, and I like to say that we'll have less smoke. Let's say maybe 0.5. Okay, then inside the renderer we'll start having a lower opacity, and in the simulation we can have more turbulence. Let's try with 50, and let's say a little bit of gravity as we done before. And let's try with less particles, just to be sure that sorry, so let's say that we have just 2000 particles, and again in FilmFX and maybe it's also better to have less particles. Let's go there and let's use a lower scale because we need more detail. Let's use 0 turbulence for the moment. Okay, let's go for 2 centimeters. It should be better. So I'll try to simulate let's remove the visualization of the smoke, and I save. Obviously, if you like to link also to the pieces, you can use the same particle system to guide the film effects. I'll try to make just a simulation for you now with an higher level of quality, 4 centimeters. And the best way is that you'll use inside the final simulation, for example, the fluid mapping or the wavelet turbulence. Now I'll launch a simulation and we'll see later together the result. Okay, so I simulated just 35 frames, you see, just to see how it looks. We can make some test render using this one. Obviously you can simulate a more complex result. Let's go for a target direct. I'm moving the light, and we say shadow map. Let's go for another multiplier, directional parameters, and we make it bigger to illuminate, and then atmosphere shadows, then back in film effects, and we say to use this one, and we'll say to the smoke that adds the shadows. Let's go now to use the scan line, and let's render a frame. It is calculating the illumination map for the shadows. We have also all the objects that must be removed actually. So we can go inside the particle flow, set to off this one and set to off the other one too. And let's select the particle flow, and we can have a darker ambient color, and there right mouse button, keyless mode to have just one color, and we can go for something like that. I have some error messages because I was using the other rendering engine. And you see, obviously the quality is low because I have not so much detail, but you saw in my preview. Let's see. Sorry. Let's try with more visibility for the smoke, and then maybe we can make a little test simulating a higher quality simulation. And you see, it can be not bad. We need just a higher resolution simulation. So let's save, and just to make a test inside the simulation, let's have the wavelet turbulence, and let's use OK 4 centimeters. Maybe we can go for 3 centimeters. I will simulate just some frames. Sorry, we need again the particle flow system. Okay, and simulate, and we'll see maybe just 20 or 30 frames. Okay, simulated just some frames, and let's see. It is wrong, the resolution. Let's wait for the calculation. Maybe we'll have to scale something, because that's the first test we are doing for the simulation. So it is not bad. We have some details, so maybe we can stay with this quality, but in case you need to obtain a better quality, you can, in the standard simulation, there you can scale there the turbulence to make it more little, and you can have more quality, adding more spacing there. But the way is this one. So you see, it's a really simple way to create falling debris. And as I said to you before, if you like, you can add another layer of dust, and the second layer you can use another particle flow source, or you can use the same film effects, I mean, and the other particles will be directly the debris, so the pieces we simulated before for the falling debris. So for the moment, that's all. We saw just an introduction to make some falling debris with dust, and it was really simple, and that's one of the most simple approach we can follow. Obviously in the future we'll see more complex way to achieve the same result, also using dynamic effects and more complex film effects setup. So I hope to see you back on Max Cookie to check for new tutorial coming from cgcookie.com. Bye.